Because I said so. If you've ever said that line to your kid, because I said so, and they obeyed, but yet you felt like you lost something, you're not crazy. Because sometimes you can win the chore and still lose the moment. And here's the part that messes with us as parents. The problem is not that your kid won't listen. The problem is what's happening underneath the listening, and most of us don't notice it until it shows up as something bigger. When we respond by pushing harder, we usually create one of two outcomes over time: the robot or the rebel. So what's the missing piece? Picture this. You ask your kid to pick up a mess before bed. They hit you with a classic, "Do I have to?" Now watch what happens. In your mind, in about 0.7 seconds, that "because I said so," that move is the default. It's not evil, it's just fast, so you say it. They do the thing and you feel like case closed, but then you notice the part we pretend not to notice. The eyes, the sigh, the storm cloud. And here's the question that should haunt all of us in the best way. Did you get obedience but miss connection? Because if the only thing that moved was their hands and not their heart, that moment isn't over, it's just postponed. So here's the shift that changed everything for me. Behavior is fruit, the heart is root. If all we do is manage the fruit, the root stays untouched. And untouched roots keep producing the same fruit in different forms. So, fruit versus root. Fruit is what you see, root is what's underneath. Jesus said it like this: "For out of the abundance of the heart, his mouth speaks." So, when something keeps spilling out of your child, words, attitudes, shutdowns, explosions, that's not random, that's overflow. Now here is why this matters long term. If we ignore the heart and only try to control behavior, we usually get one of two type of kids. A robot, outwardly obedient, looks great on the outside, but inside they're learning, I comply to avoid pressure. They might grow up polite, but not convinced, quiet, but not connected. And here's the painful twist. Sometimes they look like they're with you right up until they don't have to be. Once the pressure lifts and they're older, they're out of the house, the consequences don't scare them, they can drift from everything you taught because it never became theirs. Or you get the rebel. Strong-willed from the start, not easily controlled, and that strong will, that could actually be leadership, but if all they experience is force, they learn to push back harder. So, different type of kids, same problem. Their heart isn't being reached. And this is where a lot of us get stuck. We keep trying to solve a heart problem with behavior tools. More consequences, more lectures, more volume. And we wonder why nothing changes. So, what do we do? What do we do instead? Here's the HeartTalks method. 3 simple moves. First, we pause, okay? Not your standard, not your pressure. You're not lowering the bar. You're not lowering the heat. You're just pausing. Why? To get to the root question. Instead of starting with, what did you do? Start with, what did you want? See the shift? What were you trying to get? What were you trying to protect? What were you trying to avoid? Okay? And the third one, persuade. Not by force, but by helping them see clearly. One story, one question, one next step. That's it. Pause. Root question. Persuade. This is the difference between convincing and persuading. Convincing usually sounds like, I'm right, you're wrong, do it because I said so. It can get compliance for sure, but it rarely leads to conviction. Persuasion, on the other hand, sounds like, let me step into your world for a second. What are you seeing right now? What matters to you? Persuasion is how you shepherd a heart, not just manage a moment. So, quick example. When my son was about 4 years old, he learned to dribble 2 basketballs at the same time. Yeah, we're a basketball family. And I remember my cousin, he was like, how did you make him practice that? I said, I didn't. I made him want to. He loved mastering big kid skills. See, that's the doorway into his heart. So I didn't pressure him, I persuaded him. I found a way that made sense to him so that he chose it. And that's the point. When a child believes something is good, you don't have to drag it out of them. They lean in. That's why I created Heart Talks, because I needed something better than lectures and pressure. And I wanted to help other people that needed the same thing. Heart Talks are short, simple conversations that help you connect to your kid and help you figure out what's going on in their heart and what wisdom looks like in real life. It's not a sermon. It's not a 45-minute sit down. It's more like a 10-minute recalibration. If you want to try this, I made a free Heart Talk starter guide. It's called From Do I Have to How Can I Love? Because love is the key to all of this. It's super practical. You can print it, stick it on the fridge, use it at bedtime. The point of the guide is simple. It helps you lead a short, biblically guided conversation that persuades your child from the inside out, moving them from do I have to, more of a me first attitude, to how can I love, which is more serve first. So you're not trying to force a better attitude, you're helping the why land in their heart so they start owning it for themselves. And over time, that looks like less pushback, more buy-in. So you're gonna get a ready to go kind of conversation. Simple questions, some applicable scriptures, kid-friendly wording you can actually use on an ongoing basis. So the link is in the description. And if you want to go further, I also have 3 other Heart Talk guides that build this out in the same style, the same simplicity, but with deeper tools. But to start with the free one. So remember, you're not trying to raise a robot and you're not trying to survive a rebel, right? You're trying to raise peacemakers, kids who choose what's right because they're convinced it's good. And that starts when we stop parenting only the fruit and we start parenting the root. All right, thanks.